Hello, and welcome back to yet another episode of What Does This Button Do? A series where I play video games passionately, but not very well.
And I watch while being in moderate to severe pain.
I'm Rhiannon.
And I'm Sigma, just off of a long, hot, dirty session working on my car.
Did you have to phrase it like that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, and we are back for another episode of Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. We are back to continue on Case 2, hopefully getting to the end this time. We'll see. I would really like to finish Case 2 this time, because I will be unable to stream next week, and I'd rather not leave us in the middle of a case. But with that in mind, let's get started so that we can get as far as possible. Last time we found out that the kitchen staff was hiding the fact that one of the two of them was a mage. We also found out that there might be involvement in the case from House Frega, which is one of the major noble houses, and this has Prosecutor Steelwind extremely concerned.
We also met the particular member of House Frega in question, who was related to the case, and she's Weichschnee from Ruby. She just is.
And if you don't watch Ruby, she's an insufferable rat.
With a rapier.
Anyway, with that in mind, let's continue.
The rapier is important.
Okay. Yes, it is.
Ooh.
Still got some audio crunch. I did my best.
Well, at least the music's still on point. Anyway, court is now resumed for the trial of Wallace Nightgrave. And has reviewed the proceedings from yesterday.
Oh, good. An in-game recap.
It was revealed that the trace of necromancy may have not been left by the defendant. It may have been left by a witness who used necromancy to attempt to heal the victim. However, the victim was seen by witnesses well after her time of death. This could only be explained by the defendant using necromancy to animate the victim's body. Allegedly. This leaves the question, where did the murder take place? Does the prosecution have an answer for this?
Based on the testimonies of several witnesses, it is very likely that the murder took place in the library. Impossible.
Murder! Exclamation point. In the library.
A Body in the Library by Agatha Christie.
There are two kinds of people. One of them is infinitely more culturally mature than the other.
You.
Well, maybe Agatha Christie. Whatever. Interesting. Interesting. Sorry, slipped into one of my D&D characters for a second there. What led you to this conclusion, Miss Steele?
Your Honor, I ate the cannoli.
You ate the cannoli?
Frankly, Ifrit, I would also eat the cannoli. Cannoli good.
Cannoli.
First, I'd like to remind the court where the victim was sighted before the body was found. It began when the victim had a meeting with the headmaster near the center of the building.
Oh, he was hungry. Well, understandable. Have a nice day. Our meeting was scheduled for 12 o'clock p.m. According to my schedule for that day, our meeting lasted for an hour.
This brings us to the statement of the next witness, a student at the academy. The student saw the victim walking in the hallways. I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. I don't know if that's exactly the voice I gave her last week, but... She was heading toward the library. Which means that our first witness saw Bellweather leave the headmaster's office. Presumably, this would have happened after her meeting there. That would time this encounter at around 1 o'clock p.m. The other event is the discovery of the body, which was when Valentina Yanis contacted security. I suddenly spotted the professor lying in a pool of blood in the classroom. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. As we've already established, this event occurred at 3:04 p.m. But the significance of this time is in what occurred before the body was discovered. The second witness, a member of the cleaning staff, spotted the victim in the West Wing hallway.
Bellweather knocked over a vase, and there were shards and dirt everywhere. It was probably 20-30 minutes before the twins found the body. Yeah.
This means that this encounter must have happened no later than 2:30 p.m. And this implies that the victim was near the library between 1 o'clock p.m. and 2:30 p.m. According to the defendant's statements, he was in the library during this time period. Furthermore, the time of death was at 2:07 p.m. This means that Mr. Hughes saw the victim's animated body. Steelwind's deduction. The prosecution's theory lays out the following timeline for Catherine Bellweather's movements on the day of the murder. 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Theodore Redmond has a meeting with Bellweather. 1 p.m. Miriam Frega saw Bellweather walking in the hallways. 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Bellweather spent time in the library. 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Wallace Nightgrave murdered Bellweather. 2:30 p.m. Jan Hughes witnessed Bellweather walking toward Lecture Hall 2B. 3 p.m. The Giannis sisters discovered Bellweather's body.
I see. Your deduction certainly tracks, Miss Steelwind. What do you have to say in your defense, Mr. Cuthbert?
You mean my client's defense?
No, in your defense. Fuck you. The prosecution's argument is definitely well thought out, Your Honor. However, it's entirely predicated on the testimonies of all the witnesses involved.
Steelwind's deduction has to have a hole somewhere. And since your conversation yesterday, you've had a feeling that Miriam is hiding something. If you want to get to the truth, you'll need to drag that out of her through a cross-examination.
Your Honor, to test the validity of these claims, the defense would like both of these witnesses to testify. The defense calls Miriam Frega to the stand. Frega?
At the mention of her name, the judge's face turns a bit pale.
Sorry, that came out a bit more forcefully than I expected it to.
I had a feeling it would come to this.
Do you have any objections, Miss Steelwind?
I do not, Your Honor.
That's what I was afraid you'd say. Very well. Bailiff, please escort Lady Frega to the stand. Oh boy, here we go again.
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the... You little snakes! How dare you deceive me! Oh, looks like she found out.
Well, I don't know how she couldn't have, considering.
Please have some objections. She terrifies me.
Please have some objections. She's terrified.
Hello, Steve. Welcome. I had the opportunity to debrief the witness beforehand. Ms. McCoy, for the record, I told you to exercise discretion. I did not mean that you should impersonate a member of my family. Yeah, sorry about that. I gave you all of the tea that I imported from the Eastern Kingdom. I mean, she gave us more than one kind of tea, to be honest.
All of the tea from the Eastern Kingdoms, and also this school.
I demand that you return it to me. Ooh, voice crack. No, you gave them to me. They're legally mine now.
Also, she's not going to be able to give them back for a couple more hours still, I think.
You're awful.
I'm not sure what your business with the witness is, Miss McCoy, but I'd ask that you please handle your personal disputes outside of the court.
She started it. At any rate, Miriam, Could you please testify to the court about your encounter with the victim?
Oh, Ifrit, it's tea. Trust me, it's coming out the other end.
Very well. I was working on a research project in my dorm room when I decided to take a break. I left my room and went on a walk. That's when I saw Professor Bellweather exiting the headmaster's office. She was walking in my direction, so I greeted her, and she responded in kind. After that, she headed towards the library. A short time after that, I went back to my room and continued my work.
I see. So it was only a brief encounter.
However brief it was, the witness's testimony verifies two things. One is that Miss Frega saw the professor exiting the headmaster's office. The other is that she witnessed the victim head toward the library. This gives us a rough timeline of where the victim was before her death. Ah, but if we recall our conversation with Miriam from last time, she has a horrible internal sense of time.
She tends to get lost in this house. That does seem consistent.
Did Bellweather really enter the library that day? Well, yes, you spoke to her there. You feel like you would have seen her there if she did. Again, you spoke to her.
After that. This entire timeline of events is after the exchange you all had with her.
Right.
That's right. You may begin your cross-examination. Ugh, crunch.
Apologies. I tried closing everything in the background to see if it helped the audio not be crunchy.
It seems like it might be an issue on either the game's end or maybe your sound processor, who knows. Computers, man, they don't make any sense.
Do I have specific testimony?
Specific testimony of what?
Any comments from Frega?
I don't think so.
Okay. So let me just press this.
And you're sure that you saw her exit the headmaster's office?
Yes, I remember it clearly. I didn't try that, Ifrit. I will do that before next stream.
You know, it might just be that your computer doesn't have the juice to run both OBS and this game perfectly.
I will have to make sure I check that during the interim before we stream next time. I was surprised that she was still meeting with the headmaster at all. She must be talking about how they were plotting to replace him. Did you interact with the professor at all, Miriam? Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. I'm supposed to actually say things. Did anything seem off about her?
No, but it was a very short encounter. It's not as if we stopped to have a conversation.
You said that you greeted her and she responded. What words did she use?
Why is that important?
Frega, it's possible that someone used illusion magic that day. Every detail about the victim's interactions could be important.
Well, I bid her good morning, and she said good morning in response. So it was morning.
Well, no, because she has a horrible sense of time.
But then why would Bellweather say good morning?
Okay. How are you going to prove that there's anything off about that?
Okay.
That being said, can't help but think that just her responding at all is a bit odd, given what everybody suspects.
Well, I'm gonna press her other statements before I try to...
You already pressed that one.
Oh, whoops. Oh! Why did she say that? It only happened over a few seconds. The witnesses' interactions are not what's important here. What matters is that she witnessed where the victim was coming from and where she went afterwards. This.
Did you see her enter the library?
I didn't, but there's not much else in that direction. From the testimony of Jan Hughes, we know that she later came from the library. Even if she didn't enter the library, she was still in that area for more than an hour. Do I need to present the... Well, no, because presumably she saw her, Bellweather before she was supposed to have been murdered. So the fact that she was talking at all wasn't weird.
Are you sure about that? Or perhaps I should be a little bit more accurate. Are you sure that the timeline of events, as described, is accurate?
No, I don't think it's accurate, but...
I think it's some click and drag, too.
I thought it was...
Yeah, it's click and drag, okay.
Okay. I can't
Just
seem
very
to
hard
do
to click
it
and drag with the trackpad.
trackpad, yeah. Ah. So why would she have said good morning if it was afternoon?
There you go.
As I was saying...
Ms. Frega, if I recall correctly, you have a habit of getting absorbed in your work. So much so that you'll even lose track of the time of day.
Yes. What does that have to do with my testimony?
It was after midnight on Christmas Eve. So it was Christmas! Sorry, wrong day. Earlier in today's proceedings, the prosecutor made the following argument.
Our first witness saw Bellweather leave the meeting with the headmaster. That would time this encounter around 1 o'clock p.m.
Ms. Frega, if you had said good morning to the professor, you would have been mistaken. Because that encounter could have only have happened... Because that encounter could have only happened during the afternoon.
And your point is... You said it yourself, Mr. Cuthbert. The witness simply lost track of time.
What the witness said isn't what's important here. The significance is in what the professor said in response. She had just come out of a meeting that was scheduled for noon. She would be well aware that it was no longer morning. So why would she respond, good morning? Wouldn't she have corrected the witness?
Their encounter was extremely short, and the victim's mind may have been preoccupied. She could have easily responded to the witness without thinking. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of agree with her.
Damn it, woman, don't harsh my buzz.
It's not hard to believe that they were both confused about the time. It's definitely a stretch. But you still can't shake the feeling she's hiding something. Every time you ask her about how Bellweather acted that day, the eye picks something up. There has to be something there.
Miss Frega, you haven't been entirely truthful in your testimony, have you?
That's absurd! What reason would I have to lie? It's such a small detail. Why does he even care?
He's a lawyer. I always care about the small details. Every detail about how she acted is important, Miss Frega.
What? A noble in this world? Hiding something? Perish them all.
I mean, to her credit, this time it isn't out of malice. What aren't you telling us?
Mr. Cuthbert, you have no basis to accuse the witness of perjury.
Yes, you will stop this at once. Miss Frega, you're lying about how Bellweather responded to your greeting, aren't you?
It doesn't make a difference. All she did was yell at me. All she did was yell?
Miss Frega, is it possible that Bellweather's response was less than friendly?
Who cares? What difference does it make? Why is he being so persistent?
My job is to make sure every part of your testimony is truthful. Every detail matters, no matter how seemingly insignificant.
I'm impressed at how he is responding to her thoughts in a way that sounds like he's just being very intuitive.
I mean, he's been doing this all his life.
Yeah, but it's still impressive to do that in a high-pressure situation on the fly.
I'll give you that. Even he slipped up a couple times. Mr. Cuthbert, you will stop this, or I will find you in contempt. The professor yelled at you, didn't she, Miss Frega?
So what if she did? I mean...
I'm sorry, but there's no going back on what you just said. So you do admit that she yelled at you?
You impertinent little... Yes, I admit it. The professor didn't greet me back that day. Oh, good morning, Professor. Be quiet. She yelled at me to be quiet.
Well, no, that's odd.
But until then, we had always been nothing but courteous with each other. I don't know what got into her that day, but something put her in a foul mood. But that's it! Everything else I said was the truth. They'll believe me, right? I did see her come out of the headmaster's office and walk toward the library. That part is true. So she wasn't lying about that. So, is that all, Mr. Cuthbert?
What do you mean, is that all?
You badgered this witness, also you could prove... What, exactly?
The witness committed perjury.
The witness changed a small detail of her testimony. A detail that is inconsequential to the case. It was clearly an act with no malicious intent. After seeing her thoughts, it's hard to disagree with that.
Yeah, well...
You were so sure that the eye would lead you somewhere. But Frega was only lying to save face. The witness saw the victim leave the headmaster's office and head toward the library. Do you have any concrete evidence to refute that, Mr. Cuthbert?
No, I suppose I don't.
Wait, is this really okay? At this rate, this will be the only chance you have to cross-examine her.
I don't think she's lying anymore. And I was really pushing my luck earlier. If I continue pressing her, the judge might actually charge me with contempt.
But if Miriam isn't the one that's lying, then...
The defense has no further questions for the witness, Ms. Steelwind.
The prosecutor stays silent for a while. She almost looks disappointed. Very well. Miriam, you are dismissed. Miriam still looks like she's fuming, but she leaves the room without protest. The judge breathes a sigh of relief as the young noble is escorted out of the room.
Excuse me, that should have been more of a...
Now, with that out of the way, what else do you have, Mr. Cuthbert? The only way to refute the prosecutor's theory is to cast doubt on one of the witnesses. If it wasn't Miriam, then...
To test your theory, we must question every witness that saw the victim that day. So, with that said, the defense would like to call Jan Hughes to the stand.
I hope you understand, Mr. Cuthbert. Your entire case rests on the assumption that one of the witness accounts is incorrect. If your cross-examination of Mr. Hughes leads nowhere, then I hope you're ready to concede. You don't like the sound of it, but she's right. Unless you can find something in Jan's testimony, you won't really have anything to disprove her theory.
Oh joy.
Bailiff, please bring in Mr. Hughes.
Oh, okay.
Witness?
Go easy on him, he's my brother.
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the courtroom.
Really on?
Witness, name and occupation.
Right. My name is Jan Hughes. I'm on the cleaning staff of the Academy.
Mr. Hughes, please testify to the court about your encounter with the professor that day.
Sure. Saw the professor when I was cleaning the West Wing hallways. It was about 20-30 minutes before the body was discovered. She walked by me, but she looked pretty out of it. I heard she was undead when this happened. Pretty creepy if you ask me. After that, she went into the empty classroom. Well, that was straightforward.
But still different than what he told us.
Yes, it was.
Come on, Jan. What are we supposed to do with that? Sure, Jan.
God damn it! I don't know. You guys are the lawyers. I'm just telling you what I saw. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. With its very crunchy whoosh noise. I saw the... Wait, I've already read all this.
Yeah, you don't need to read this.
Just voicing this guy makes me feel like I need more caffeine.
Where's his testimony that he gave us? Okay, so this time he didn't say anything about the vase or the weird be quiet.
Indeed. So, what does that mean?
Well, that he's omitting things, for sure.
Okay. And how do we get him to unomit them? To omit them?
Press his statements and or present evidence.
Well, gee, it's almost like this is an Ace Attorney alike. Did anything else look off about her? I mean, yeah. She was undead after all.
How do you know that?
That remains to be proven.
Yeah.
If you say so. At any rate, what was her demeanor like? She looked like she was in a bad mood.
So she looked completely normal then?
Yeah, no, day ending and why. Either that or she was tired. Oh, for fuck's sake. But I guess she was just dead inside. Literally.
I mean, I guess I'm just gonna keep pressing him on this shit.
I believe you've forgotten a few details about what the professor did. Yeah? Sorry. It's hard to remember these things sometimes. God damn it!
Which detail should you ask him for?
I hate that. Oh, I hate that.
Did she make any sounds?
You know, something like brains.
Did she talk to you?
Did you hear her make any sounds?
Nudge wink.
Oh, yeah. It's me! Who's gonna slap Jan? He's the one who's causing all this.
Bonk.
Okay. Well, there we have it.
Bonk him with my mouse.
After she knocked over the face, she yelled at me to be quiet. I didn't even say anything. I'm an unwitting accomplice! This detail could be extremely important. Please add it to your testimony, Mr. Hughes. Whatever you say, man.
If I recall correctly... Yes!
Its intelligence is limited, and it cannot speak. Well, well, well.
Whoops. Crunchy objection!
Mr. Hughes, you said that Bellweather yelled at you. What were her exact words? I think she yelled at me to be quiet.
What?
I thought it was weird. I didn't even say anything. But I know better than to talk back to her. That's the thing, Hughes. The prosecution's theory is as such. The professor was murdered in the library and was reanimated using animate corpse. With a quick illusion spell, no one would notice that she was undead. However, if what you saw was truly the undead Bellweather, how did she speak to you? Huh?
This doesn't make any sense!
That's what I'm saying! Mr. Hughes, undead can follow simple orders, but they don't have the intelligence to speak.
Perhaps the witness was mistaken.
But no, I'm sure I heard her yell at me. I remembered because what she said didn't make any sense. Exactly. He didn't say anything, but she still yelled at him to be quiet.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm afraid I don't understand. We've already established that the victim was dead long before her encounter with Mr. Hughes. But if what he saw wasn't an undead, what was it?
To be an undead.
Did it?
What other explanation is there? It couldn't have been a major illusion. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to shove Dan out of the way or knock over the vase. Whatever it was, someone probably used illusory disguise to make it look like Bellweather. Does that mean it was a person? No. If it was a person, how did Bellweather's body end up in the lecture hall? Bellweather wouldn't have been able to turn herself invisible if she was dead. And whatever Jan saw, it needs to be something that could have transported Bellweather's body unseen. It would have also needed to have a mass and the ability to speak.
It's me, Austin!
No, it's not.
It was me all along, Austin!
Or at the very least, it needs to be something that can recreate Bellweather's voice. What could have done that?
What indeed?
My theory was correct!
That's it!
Ah!
Do you have an answer for us, Mr. Cuthbert? What did the witness actually see? Your Honor, the witness didn't actually hear the dead victim speaking. What he actually heard was her voice being recreated using magic.
Are you trying to say that her voice was recreated using a spell?
Not a spell, Steelwind. It was artificery. And whoever the murderer is, they had the perfect piece of artificery available to them. One programmed with Catherine Bellweather's voice.
You can't possibly mean...
I can possibly mean, Steelwind. What Mr. Hughes saw was an arcane construct. An arcane construct? Think of it as a magically animated suit of armor, Your Honor. But we ruled out such a possibility, hadn't we? Construct or not, no one could disguise themselves and carry the body to the left. A person wouldn't have been able to do it. But arcane constructs are a different thing entirely. Those suits of armor are extremely large, but more importantly, they're hollow. I see. That means that theoretically, someone could place the victim's body inside it, and had a very interesting Full Metal Alchemist cosplay.
God damn it.
The arcane construct wouldn't just transport the body and act as cosplay. With an illusory disguise, it would also confuse and mislead anyone who saw it. But it still wouldn't sound like a 12-year-old boy.
You need to stop. I have my own crunchy objection. I commend your deduction, Mr. Cuthbert. I would have never considered that possibility. It's certainly plausible, but what does this prove exactly?
The old weekend at Bernie's defense. I am once again asking for you to stuff the body inside an arcane construct.
Did you have to do that while I was taking a drink?
Yes.
You're gonna kill me one of these days.
For too long have the American people been without access to arcane constructs for the purposes of body disposal and cosplay.
All right, Mr. Sanders, line please.
It proves that the body wasn't... Oh, wait. It proves that the body wasn't animated using necromancy. My client isn't the murderer.
Well, that doesn't actually prove he didn't murder her. Just that...
I'm on a roll. Don't hurt my mellow.
The defendant is still capable of performing all of the acts that you described. His compendium contains illusory disguise, after all.
There were several students in the library that day. Any of them could have committed the murder.
One might come to that conclusion, if they didn't have one crucial piece of evidence. I'd like to present a new piece of evidence to the court.
Bitch was holding out on me.
From under her table, you see Ms. Steelwind pull out the bloody rapier.
Steelwind! Face fist. Blood? Is that?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the murder weapon.
Oh. And here I thought somebody was using it to open a can of tomato juice.
The autopsy was updated.mp4. Yeah, we're updating the autopsy report.
Edgeworth would be rolling in his grave if he was dead.
She was saving that for the perfect moment, wasn't she? This rapier was reported stolen by Miriam Frega weeks before the murder. And during the investigation, it was finally found. In the defendant's locker.
And now Z owes it for the coke. Wait!
He was clearly trying to use one of her possessions in a paltry attempt to frame her. Why, he even stole her locker's nameplate and placed it over his.
About that.
Damn it! That's not what happened!
That's not how the Jinx thing works, different. You get a coke, not a hair.
But honestly, it sounds more plausible than what really took place.
You could, however, give your harem some coke.
Stop.
Now that would be a party.
We're basically back to square one, aren't we? Anyone could have told that construct to do all of those things. Wait, anyone? Is that really true? The construct transported the professor's body, and someone used an illusion to make it look like her. They even used a pre-recorded voice to make the illusion more convincing. Who ordered the construct to hide the body? Could anyone have done that? Is it because the voice lines can only be adjusted by the headmaster?
Well, it's true. Those voice lines can only be adjusted by the Academy headmaster. And it would appear that this arcane construct in particular only had the ability to say one thing.
Be quiet. No, that's not right.
Okay, maybe we're a bit ahead of the...
Oh, I have to pick the person.
Yeah, we need a who, not a what.
Yeah, I need to pick our headmaster here.
Mr. Herrick.
Mr. Redmond.
Herrick.
Several memories flood back to you.
Mr. Hughes, you said that Bellweather yelled at you. What were her exact words? Ah, yes, this happened so long ago. How could we forget? I think she yelled at me to be quiet. God damn it, Hughes!
She yelled at me to be quiet. But until then, we had always been nothing but courteous with each other. I don't know what got into her that day, but something put her in a foul mood. Be quiet!
Sorry!
Be quiet! Eris begins giggling. She seems amused by what's happening. The construct's voice is just a series of pre-recorded messages. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it uses the voice of Professor Bellweather. Unfortunately, you can't make them say anything other than what's recorded. Only the headmaster can change those settings.
Don't know why she suddenly went psycho mode there, but, you know, whatever. No. It can't be him!
What is it, Tyrion? Did you figure something out?
I did. Zio's it for the Pepsi, not a Coke.
But is he seriously the one behind all of this? Yeah, the memory of her is unedited. Weird.
Ain't that just something?
What the fuck is Eris?
Ms. Steelwind, earlier you said that my client could have orchestrated this entire ruse. But that's simply not true.
How so? Anyone could have ordered the construct to carry out the victim's body.
Yes, but not everyone can change what the constructs are able to say. Only one individual has the credentials for that. Theodore Redmond, headmaster of the Imperial Academy.
Wait, you're not serious, are you? You think the headmaster did all this?
I don't want to believe it. But he's the only person who could have done it.
That's completely ridiculous. Headmaster Redmond would never do something like this.
Ms. Steelwind, there's one common element between each of the witnesses' encounters with Bellweather. It's what Bellweather said to them.
She yelled at both of them to be quiet.
Miriam Frega was particularly surprised. She had a good relationship with the professor. But when greeted by the professor, Bellweather just shouted at her. Almost as if the professor was responding indiscriminately. And recall her encounter with Jan Hughes. The professor knocked over a vase and shouted at him to be quiet immediately after, even though he hadn't said anything.
She was responding to the sound of the vase breaking.
Now let me ask you this, Steelwind. Where did Bellweather come from before she encountered Miss Frega and Mr. Hughes?
A meeting.
With the headmaster.
Crunchy gavel.
Oh dear, now I'm crunchy. It appears that the event truly means to indict Theodore Redmond. If so, we have no choice but to take a brief recess until he can be brought here. There's no need.
Oh, hi.
Hello. Fortunately for you, I'm already in the gallery.
And now I'm on the witness stand.
I'm pretty spry for an old guy.
The headmaster stood up from the gallery seats behind you and slowly walked onto the witness stand. Has he been here the entire time?
I'm like a geriatric.
Geriatric.
I'm like a geriatric ninja. The monocle. Now, please direct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cuthbert. But do you think I am the one who committed this crime? I'm sorry, Redmond. But no matter how I look at it, everything I've found points to you. Oh, there's no need to apologize. In fact, I should commend you on the lengths that you're going to defend dear Wallace.
Redmond internally screaming,
I
The court appreciates your understanding, Mr. Redmond. Ooh.
Hello.
Is he mad at Steelwind?
No.
Oh, he's mad at the situation.
Now then, to clear the air, I suppose I should give my testimony on what happened that day. That day, I had a meeting scheduled with the professor at noon. She showed up at the expected time, and we discussed various administrative matters. Our meeting went on for an hour, after which she left to prepare for her next class. Despite our many disagreements, we still knew how to be civil with one another. After all, I had no reason to bear a personal grudge against her.
Lies.
Well, I guess we know where we're going first.
I just can't see it. He seems like such a nice person. Is he really the person we're looking for?
He has to be. No one else could have orchestrated this entire plot.
You just need to find out how and why. Crunchy cross-examination.
Oh, joy.
I want to check for the piece of evidence first.
Which one are you looking for?
The one about them the plan to yeah.
That'll do. Well, there's our motive.
You had no reason to bear a grudge against her?
Yeah, about that.
Crunchy objection.
Again. Redmond, did you really hold no animosity towards Professor Bellweather?
Tyrion Cuthbert has developed a list.
You're despicable. Daffy Duck Ace Attorney.
It's time to
Redmond, did you really hold no animosity towards Professor Bellweather? Of course not. I did have strong opinions about her methods of teaching, but I always remained professional. We both did. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. In fact, I think you might have had a very good reason to murder the professor.
Porky Pig defense attorney, Daffy Duck prosecutor. No, the other way round.
Of course you realize this means legal battles.
Oh, yeah.
Considering that she was going to take your job.
What?
So you knew about that.
I'm sorry, but I don't follow. Just how was the professor going to take the headmaster's job? Oh. Somebody doesn't quite have all the tea.
Interesting. You would have thought Jan would tell her. They've got a history, after all. According to Miriam Frega, Catherine Bellweather was currying favor with the noble families. In fact, there was a plan to oust Mr. Redmond and appoint Bellweather as the new headmaster of the academy.
What? But in any case, I doubt that the headmaster had any idea of this until now. He clearly did, based on his reaction. He didn't say, "What are you talking about?" He said, "So you knew about that."
I'd like to remind the court of the witness's reaction just now.
Oh, I am one step ahead of the game.
He said, "So you knew about that." His reaction was one of surprise. But he wasn't surprised by this information. He was surprised that I knew this information.
That's...
Please, dear Aria. I may be a frail old man, but I'm perfectly capable of defending myself.
Ooh.
As you can see by the fact that I've opened my eyes.
Quite an intense glare.
Indeed. If you have an explanation, Mr. Redmond, then by all means, I'd love to hear it. Gladly.
He got scary. Witness testimony part 2.
It is true that I knew about the Frega's plot beforehand. I had only just learned about it. On the day of the murder, the professor told me about her plan. She was going to replace me as the headmaster, replace the staff with her arcane constructs.
But Jan said she said that weeks ago.
Now, you might say that this would have given me the perfect motive to murder the professor. However, the supposed murder weapon was stolen from Miss Frega. This happened weeks before the murder and my discovery of the professor's treachery. I had no knowledge of their plan before she told me, and therefore, I wouldn't have known to steal Miss Frega's weapon in an attempt to free me.
Are you satisfied now, Mr. Cuthbert? Not remotely. There's no way that the headmaster could have come up with this plan. If he really did do this, that means he stole the rapier too, right?
That my painkillers are finally kicking in. I think he might be related to a certain Galarian gym leader.
Maybe.
But he's kicking it. Most likely.
His alibi makes sense. He couldn't have planned this whole thing unless he knew about Bellweather's plans. That would mean he knew about it weeks ago. But how did he even find out?
The best way to tell a convincing lie is to leave a lot of truths and only change one detail. Maybe Bellweather did tell him, but she actually told him weeks ago.
The question is, how do you prove that?
Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination.
Crunchy cross-examination.
It's getting a bit old.
Okay. Before I present anything. Yeah, it says right here in this.
Mm-hmm.
So do I just present this again?
Perhaps. It would make sense.
Objection!
Redmond, you keep saying that you didn't know about Bellweather's plot before yesterday. Do you still plan on standing behind that claim?
Of course. I am. Because it's the truth.
I'm sorry, Redmond, but you should really close your doors during your meetings.
What?
I love that sprite.
Yeah.
It is true that Bellweather revealed her plan to you during one of her meetings. In fact, Jan Hughes happened to overhear the same meeting.
Also, his thought was, did someone see, not did someone hear?
Interesting. But he only overheard the part where the staff would be replaced.
Ooh, scary sprite.
And that's the strangest part, Redmond. According to Mr. Hughes, this meeting occurred weeks ago.
You can't accuse the headmaster of perjury based on a rumor. Everything you've just said is based on secondhand information.
Mr. Hughes distinctly overheard that the staff would be replaced with arcane constructs. That is too specific and too accurate to assume that he misheard a different conversation.
The professor probably only revealed her plan for the arcane constructs. That still doesn't prove that he knew about her treachery beforehand.
Professor Bellweather had no authority over the cleaning staff's employment. It wouldn't make sense for her to just reveal her plan for the arcane constructs. That would only make sense if he knew that Bellweather would be taking his job. So tell me one thing, Redmond. Why did you find the need to lie about this? Is it because you saw a need to protect yourself from my accusations? Redmond, I asked you a question. Did you murder Catherine Bellweather?
I appear to be getting a phone call. Excuse me.
By the time you get there, it's gonna hang up.
Yeah, it might be my dad calling about something stupid.
We're gonna chill for a minute on the spooky sprite.
Spooky sprite.
Who knew that a monocle could do the...
The anime glasses thing?
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever seen an anime character with monocle?
Fair enough. I don't watch a lot of anime.
Like...
The cheese phone, truly an important call.
Well, now I know what I'm calling my phone from now on. Thanks. Anyway, yes, I'm back. I know, very quick phone call, mostly because it didn't happen.
What a fine mess this is. I'm not...
Headmaster?
So, you truly plan on pushing this? Well, your thesis sounded promising, Mr. Cuthbert. But I believe your arguments could use a little work.
Eye of Horus, baby!
You think I killed Catherine Bellweather? Me? I am an elderly man in his late 80s. I was alone and had nothing to overpower Bellweather with. I can barely walk, much less wield a rapier.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Arcane Construct could.
Mm-hmm. But you and Bellweather weren't the only people in that room, were you? You needed the arcane construct to carry Bellweather's body.
Also, rapiers aren't that heavy.
Oh yeah, no, they're very light. But he's also very old, to be fair. That means that the construct would have already been in your office. And with your privileges, you could have easily programmed the construct to stab Bellweather for you. Yeah, but he's trying to defend himself. He's backed into a corner, he's reaching at any minute.
Think about what would happen after... blah, blah, blah. Think about what would have transpired afterward.
You have the hiccups?
No, I'm just very informed. Recall Miss Steelwind's timeline of Bellweather's witnesses. With your theory, Construct would have spent more than an hour in the library. Having it there would have risked my so-called ruse from being discovered. Luckily, Lady Frega can't tell night from day.
Well.
I wouldn't wander around the library.
Intuition.
The timing deduced from Miss Frega's testimony is predicated on one thing. She saw Miss Bellweather exit your office after your meeting. However, if we assume that you're lying about when this meeting ended, your entire argument falls apart. Miss Frega would have encountered Bellweather after her death at 2:01 p.m.
Miss Frega wouldn't have made a mistake like that.
Miss Frega thought it was morning when she saw Bellweather. She can't reliably tell time. I don't even think she knows how to read a clock.
That sign can't stop me. I don't know how to read.
Oh, I knew we should have had a literacy course. What about where the rapier was placed? If I really was the murderer, then that would mean I planted the weapon in young Wallace's locker. Several of the students had lockers there that I had access to. I wouldn't have placed incriminating evidence in that locker. Wallace is one of my prized students. If I had to frame anyone, he would be the last person I chose.
But people like to prank Wallace by swapping his ID number.
Mm-hmm.
What up? My name's Miriam, and I never learned how to read.
You're right, Mr. Redmond. You wouldn't try to frame Wallace. But you would try to frame Miriam Frega. It would have been the perfect act of revenge, wouldn't it? You murder your treacherous co-worker and frame the daughter of the family that helped her. But something went wrong, didn't it, Redmond? The labels on Wallace's locker and Miriam's locker were switched. Anyone who saw that would have easily mixed them up.
I am the headmaster of the Imperial Academy. I have records of all the students' lockers and where they're located. There's no reason I would make a mistake like that. If I truly planned this, I would have known where Wallace's locker was. A simple change in labels wouldn't have led me to make a careless mistake like that.
Unless you had the arcane construct in the locker room hide it for you.
But it wasn't you, was it? Your arcane construct was the one who planted the rapier in the locker. I bet you commanded it to place this rapier in the locker of Miriam Frega. But it saw the ID number on Wallace's locker and assumed that it was Miriam's.
This is... Hi?
Redmond begins desperately stammering, looking for something to say.
Miss Steelwind, say something!
What? Mr. Cuthbert, your theory may be plausible, but there's no evidence to support it.
Ha! That's right! You don't have any proof, do you?
That's a fun. They had fun with his sprites.
They sure did.
There's no evidence of my orders. Saying that I could have committed the murder isn't the same as proving I did it.
Except... Where's the one about how the constructs work?
You were looking at it. Construct logic.
Yeah, but that's
how they work. You asked for how they work.
Yeah, but that's about a task. That's about a series with an impossible task. This is the one about every command given to a construct is stored in its command log.
God, ain't he just a...
No?
Isn't there some sort of... Yeah, whatever, you can't get it back.
Would track the orders it gave them. Okay. I guess this then.
No, because that's not... I think you might just need to do the one in specifically the one in the locker room again?
No.
Because then you could read its logs. I assume that's what it's pointing us at, because basically we need evidence that he gave it an order. Hey, look, I was right. It's almost like I played this game before. Your arcane construct is still in the locker room where it planted the rapier. All we have to do is take a look inside it, and we'll see the blood inside.
Is that so, Mr. Cuthbert?
What? Does he still look so confident? No! Mr. Cuthbert, I already checked the inside of that construct during my investigation. The interior was completely clean.
What? Construct's primary function is to assist and clean the interior. They have a function that allows them to clean themselves, inside and out.
Like a self-cleaning oven.
Yes, only clankier.
Oh, well, we can still look at its command history, right?
Think about it, Mr. Cuthbert. Do you honestly think that the murderer would leave behind evidence like that?
Whew! Old Redman's hell on the throat.
I'm sure that whoever orchestrated this plot, they ordered the construct to wipe its logs when it was finished.
No.
That's right, Mr. Cuthbert. Your case against me is theoretical at best. But I suppose I can still give you marks for trying.
Now you're just having fun with the teaching puns. Damn it! He thought of everything! Was he seriously able to get rid of all the evidence? You're running out of options. But you still have one tool left.
Becoming declared like that, young Tyrion.
He's doing it again.
She is perceptive, isn't she?
Bring yourself back to that moment with Garrick Pierce. Think about what's at stake for Wallace, just like what you did with Celeste. His life and his future are in your hands. Advanced Eye of Horus. Empowered Eye. That's what it is. You activated the Empowered Eye again. Redmond did a good job of covering his tracks. But there has to be something that he forgot to get rid of. I guess we check that construct first?
Well, it does seem to be the linchpin of this entire operation.
I'm in the locker room. It shouldn't have been there if it had followed my orders.
Ah.
No matter. Wiped its logs. It wiped its logs. They have nothing for me.
So he did order it to wipe its logs. In order to cover all of its tracks, it probably would have done this last. Function!
Construct's orders were clear. Plant the body in lecture hall 2B. Then plant the evidence in Frega's locker. Supposed to head to the storage room afterward.
But the lockdown was happening!
What happened?
Interesting. The construct wasn't supposed to be in the locker room? Wait, he ordered the construct to go to the storage room. It would have done that after it was finished planting evidence in the locker room. But we found it in the locker room. What stopped the construct from leaving the locker room? Down more?
Yeah.
Oh, we want to do this.
Or not?
You?
Okay, maybe it... Right, no, first barrier, then that.
Yeah, barrier first.
My brain works a little too well.
Where's the thing on the lockdown?
There it is.
There it is. Present evidence. Right. The body was probably reported earlier than Redmond expected. This means he probably started the lockdown before the construct was finished in the locker room. How did the lockdown affect the construct's actions? Does this change anything? Here we are. Redmond's series of commands was interrupted by the lockdown. Right. A series of commands would have been interrupted. Wait a minute. Constructs execute a series of commands in the order they are given. But let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to that task, it will deem the entire series impossible to complete. Steelwind stole Redmond. No. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether. So if a task in a series of commands is impossible, then that command will interrupt the entire series?
I assure you, Steelwind does not like gilfs. We will find out more about her, references later.
The construct's final command was to wipe its memory. But if its orders were interrupted by the lockdown, then...
Miss Steelwind, I have nothing more to ask this witness.
What? I wasn't expecting it to be this easy. You're not giving up, are you?
Do you even have to ask?
Yeah, I thought so. But how are you going to prove he did it if he's not testifying?
Don't worry. Next witness's testimony will be all I need.
Next witness? That look on your face isn't one of defeat. Just what are you planning?
Ha! It's nothing but desperate bravado. Now, if you'll excuse me. Doo-dee-doo.
You've let your quarry get away, Mr. Cuthbert. I hope you know what you're doing.
I do, Miss Steelwind. First, I'd like for the Inquisition to bring in the arcane construct of the Academy's locker.
We've already established that the murderer could have wiped its history.
Just humor me for it.
Very well. Bailiff, please relay Mr. Cuthbert's request to Commander White.
If you'll excuse me, I'm off to the chiropractor. My head hurts. It hurts.
Chiropractors aren't real doctors.
Listen.
They learned their skills from bows.
We are in a fantasy setting.
Well, here's your construct. I hope you know what you're doing, Mr. Cuthbert.
Construct.
What are your orders?
Please recite your command history.
Reporting. Command 1. Stand by in Headmaster's office. Command 2. Await vocal signal. Attack from Theodore Redmond. You hear Redmond stand up from the gallery. Seeing this, the prosecutor watches him and carefully clutches the handle of her cane. Command 3. Treat Catherine Bellweather as a hostile entity and neutralize.
Construct, wipe your...
Total!
Listen, that's especially funny if you're at all familiar with the terminology of crypto bros.
Before he can finish his sentence, the prosecutor points her cane at the headmaster. Magical energy shoots from it and collides directly with him.
I was frozen today!
The magic reads around his body and stops him from moving. He's clearly trying to struggle against it, but it looks like he can't even move his mouth.
Miss Steelwind?
Excuse the interruption. Please continue. Command 4. Await vocal signal. Leave. From Theodore Redmond. Command 5. Move to classroom 2B. Reply to any inquiries with voice line number 3. Command 6. Remove Catherine Bellweather from interior frame and place on floor.
Thank you, Construct. You can stop now. I think we all know the rest. But just to be clear, who gave you this series of commands?
Commands were provided by Headmaster Theodore Redmond.
Well, well, how the turntables.
How? How? I ordered the construct to wipe its command history.
Mr. Redmond, constructs don't follow the same logic that humans do. They're prone to error when their commands are impossible to execute.
Impossible? In what way were my commands impossible?
You were the one that made it impossible. You activated the lockdown system.
The lockdown?
The body was found earlier than you'd like. You had no choice but to immediately activate the lockdown system when it was reported. However, the construct was still in the locker room when you did this.
So that's why it was there. Seriously, Redmond is hell on the throat.
Sorry.
The construct finished its task in the locker room, but then it tried to follow your next command. It tried to move to the storage room, but was prevented from doing so. Completion of that command was impossible. So, the series of commands was stopped before it wiped its history.
You little...
Theodore Redmond, you ordered your construct to murder Catherine Bellweather. Then you had to place the murder weapon in a locker to frame Miriam Frega. And we have your construct's testimony to prove it. And that's checkmate.
I can't believe it. How could you do something like this, Headmaster?
She was going to take everything from me. My position, my academy, my students. Everything would be gone. It was going to be stolen by her and the Fregas.
Why didn't you say anything to me? I could have...
Don't you dare stand there and act ignorant, Lady Steelwind! Do you think the Fregas acted alone? Your father was a part of this plot too!
What?
I have nothing to say to you. I thought you were different. I listened to your lies about societal reform. In the end, you are just like the rest of the aristocracy. By the scaled rod. What have I done? I was even willing to sacrifice Wallace. I can't believe Why did I do this?
Why did you listen to who? Eris?
It appears we have a full confession. The court sees no reason to prolong this any further. Aleph, please escort the witness to a holding cell.
Okay, old man. Just this once.
Can we get... Yeah, can
Just this once. We'll hold off on the touch.
Yeah, can we...
Mr. Cuthbert, you really did it.
Can we give Aria a hug?
I'd be down for giving Aria a hug.
It feels amazing, right? Like a big weight being lifted from your shoulders.
It does, but I can't believe the headmaster was the one who did this.
Right. Despite everything Redmond did. He was the one that allowed Wallace to pursue his dreams.
I'm sorry. I'm sure this is bittersweet for you. What am I gonna do now? Headmaster Redmond was the only reason I could even attend the academy. With him gone...
Come on! Don't think like that! You got acquitted! I'm sure it'll all work out. You want to agree, but necromancy is basically taboo. Without Redmond's support, there aren't many places he could learn it legitimately. And then there's the Imperial Academy. Hey! Don't you get all sad on me, too!
Sorry, I was just thinking. With Redmond gone, Fregas will probably just appoint another sycophant as the headmaster. Valentina, Valerie, and Jan are all gonna lose their jobs.
Come on! You found the truth and you put a murderer behind bars! You saved Wallace! She's right. As you start to exit the courtroom, you're greeted by Ms. Tamora.
Oh, not again.
No! Was she in the gallery this entire time? Probably. At the end of the day, you saved Wallace from a wrongful conviction. You should be proud of yourself for that. Stop it!
Maybe I am just overthinking things.
But the doubt still lingers in your mind. Now come on! I'm taking Wallace to that restaurant where we went last time.
Do you remember how much that place cost?
Don't worry, I have plenty of gold.
Well, at least I'm gonna get plenty of breadsticks. Am I the only one on this team not making any gold?
Well, you keep taking charity cases, sweetheart.
Oh.
Why don't you meet us there, Celeste? I need to talk with Tyrion for a moment. Alright,
Is this about the boob gag?
let's go, Wallace.
Okay.
Oh, it's a date!
Oh, you do me. Oh, boo boo. Oh, boo boo, yeah.
You activated the empowered eye again, didn't you? She doesn't appear to be praising you.
I did. I didn't really have a choice.
The Eye of Horus is a powerful tool, Tyrion. But that's twice now that you've used the empowered eye to get out of a tough spot. You can't keep relying on it if you want to grow as an attorney. One day you'll find a witness that the empowered eye won't work on.
It's worked for me this far, though.
Mm.
Yeah, nah, I'm with Dommy Mommy on this one. But I suppose you're right. I'll try to rely on it less next time.
I mean, we're only pulling it out in the absolute most dire of circumstances.
Indeed. And that marked the end of another case in my career as a defense attorney. Another life saved, and another murderer brought to justice. But I still couldn't shake this feeling of uneasiness. Was it guilt for what would happen to the faculty staff? Was it something else?
But I like being a gumshoe, pal.
Woohoo! Episode end. Achievement get.
Man, Steelwind has been Steelwind has been talking with the perp for hours. What's there to even ask at this point? There's nothing to report.
Turns out she doesn't trust his testimony. Something about his memories not matching up with the crime scene.
You don't think he has mage blood, does he?
No, it's not that. She found that damned symbol etched into his death.
Symbol?
Is there an echo in here? What did she call it? Purple mark?
Oh, for the love of not this again!
Look, if the little lady wants to chase the boogeyman, just... At least this time. Dragging us into it.
Cast sleep.
Hey! What's up with...
Who did this to your desk?
What has gotten into you? I've already admitted everything. What more could you possibly want from me?
Where did this graffiti come from? What is this symbol? What is the purple mark?
I don't know. A student must have done it at some point.
Think very hard, Headmaster. When did you receive this purple symbol? Focus on the moment you received this.
Wait a minute. I remember it now. How? Lady Steelwind? Miss Francis? Miss Francis! Lady Steelwind! Aria, what happened? Are you okay?
That was close. My elation over meeting him almost made me forget.
Eris! What are you doing here? Why? Wait. I remember now. It was you! You put these ideas into my mind. You're the one who told me to murder Bellweather.
Oh, you humans never fail to amuse me. I didn't make you do anything. Everything you did that day, all the planning, all the preparation, that came from your own mind. And I have to say, I was quite entertained with the scheme you came up with.
Yes, Z. Humans. Like the one who's currently conscious in this cell.
Why, you even broke into Miriam's room. I didn't know you had it in you, old man.
You made me forget about our conversation. But how? Illusions can't affect the mind. Magic can't affect the mind.
It's a shame, though. I would have much rather turned Wallace into the antagonist of this chapter. Could you imagine if he turned? It would have been spectacular. Armies of the undead running rampant in the streets.
Flamethrowers are not legal in a court of law.
But alas, even I couldn't corrupt his pure soul.
A pure-souled necromancer. Well, now we have seen everything.
Answer me. Who are you? What are you?
Who am I? I am the Lord of the Sixth Circle.
Ah!
Oh, what a way to close out the chapter, eh?
Woo! I'm glad I got to drop the breathy Eris voice for a hot sec.
Yes, well, the plot, the plot thickens. Like a good soup. Soup.
Well, that was a blast.
Yeah, it was. Even if my voice is completely shot.
We will be continuing with Case 3. Not this coming Friday, but the Friday after. I have family coming over this next weekend, so I will not be available to stream.
It's gonna be your birthday. Wish her happy birthday.
Do it!
You know none of them can see the grumble face you're making at the screen, right?
Do it anyway.
But yes, thank you so much for everybody who dropped by. Next weekend is my birthday, so a fantastic birthday present would be if you liked the video, commented, all that good YouTube stuff. Give me the good brain boost.
Oh yes, it's also Ifrit's birthday week this week.
It
Happy birthday,
is!
buddies. Happy birthday to both of you.
Happy birthday, Ifrit. Mine is on Sunday. Which day is yours?
Might have to wait a bit for the answer to come in.
Yeah,
Maybe we should ask
latency and whatnot.
Yeah, maybe we should wait for the answer off stream, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. It's the 13th.
Okay.
Oh, that's real soon. Right on.
Yeah, geez, that's this Sunday. Okay, so I forgot we're exactly a week apart.
How about that? Oh, 14th.
Ah.
Almost a week.
Monday. Okay. At any rate, thank you to everyone who stopped by. Look forward to seeing you all to start Case 3.
It's gonna be fun.
And until next time, what does this button do?
Why does this keep happening?
There we go.